Hey, NSL world. It's jmac, GM of the Blazers here. I had some downtime. I've been brooding. I thought it'd be a good idea to just throw a pod together. It's nice to talk and think about the league. Also nice to listen to everyone's pods. Loved Clem and Ethan's. Really liked Craig's. It's just great to hear from the GM, but great to hear about the thought that goes into the decisions that they make. But as I said, I've been brooding, a bit frustrated at the team, at the LeBron trade, which I'm going to go through as to why I'm probably ungratefully unhappy with the return on that deal, at least at this point. Um, and you may disagree, but I thought it was not interesting to look at that. I feel my worst trade of the season was the LeBron trade. Um, Yeah, and talk about how the season changes after the trade deadline evolves. Sorry, revolves around the door closes, revolves, and we move on to, as Pete put it, it's all about winning and losing now. So start with my team. Yeah, it's the brave waivers to quote Nelso. It's that for the next 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, the build looked terrific. The build looked great with one star out, but to cop two really unlucky, serious injuries at the same time just sucks. Even if the team does okay, I'm easily going to get overlapped by the Spurs. If the chemistry is not right, I'm probably going to drop to third, um, and might even fall behind the Wizards' record because the teams are all humming. Memphis healthy, Minnesota healthy for the most part. Spurs healthy, Washington healthy, Milwaukee healthy. Cavs have downgraded a little bit, but healthy. So yeah, it's just about enduring. But yeah, it just sucks that um, yeah, you're really without your best players, and relative to what we've been doing without hope. I think yeah, we've got a really tough schedule for the rest of the next 3 or 4 weeks at least. So yeah, if we get out of it 500, that would be great. And that might just sound like me playing it down, but yeah, I think we'll take a lot of hits over the next few weeks, um, and just hope there's some chemistry, 2K magic in the lineup, and just survive really. Which brings me to LeBron. Um, he was amazing when I've had him in the team. But I just wanted to go over the reasons why, upon reflection, and I looked through the transactions today to check if this was a reasonable idea or not, and it was. I've been happy with almost every other trade I've made. The Laurie Markkinen one's aged terribly. That's going to be a loss, but no one had picked Laurie to break out like that. Yeah, the LeBron deal. So I just can't feel good about it. Still Harden still seems like my player. It's so weird to see him on another team, and he genuinely was the only player that I really attached myself to, and it's been really weird not having him on my team. Um, Add to that, it goes to my greatest rival, which is weird in unto itself. That we made a deal, but just everything's fucking gone wrong. Um, on my end, at least. I watched him play 8 out of 10 weeks with the Spurs before I could get him, and then I've had 2 weeks with him, um, and maybe I'll get one more before the playoffs. Yeah, so we agreed to the deal. I I sacrificed value and some long term assets in a really high draft pick to get LeBron just for the next year or two, and yeah, I've had him for 3 weeks so far. He's really hurt his foot. I trade for him knowing that I can then utilize him as probably the best point guard in the game and really take over the way the Spurs used him um, to win so many games last year, the way Sacramento, the way Philadelphia have used him in the past. But yeah, I get the rule change, but it comes a few weeks after that sort of trade is agreed upon, and it's just like caps so much of that trade value, and I'm giving up a point guard who now is more valuable as a really big, amazing playmaker, scorer, point guard. So just value hit straight away. Fucking James Harden opts out of his contract, so we can't even close the deal. I got to pay to keep him in free agency. I then have to find contract that fits purely just so we can make the salaries work to match LeBron's. Can't do anything with that other piece. I can't upgrade. I've got to keep all these contracts sitting there waiting because of the new trade restrictions as well. So it really limited what I could do in those first 9 weeks in terms of trades. And in the process, LeBron signs an extension that gets rejected because otherwise he wouldn't be able to be traded to me. So now I've got to go through free agency with him. Yeah, again. So it's every fucking factor just didn't work. And when it was proposed to me, like I didn't know it was going to be the domino that allows the Spurs to get Giannis. But that's the credit to Nels. His business is his business. But yeah, everything has just everything is just not worked so far, and I feel like I wish I had held Harden. For the abilities still showing in the NBA, I think I sold him a bit low, but it's more the fact I feel like he's my player and he's the only one who I've ever really assigned to myself in the NSL. The rest have just come and gone and have been flipped like assets. But it's really, really weird and strange to see Harden elsewhere and to follow him in the NBA and know there's not a correlation with my team. It's just weird. And maybe some other teams who've kept their players from the beginning. Booker, I would have said Luka, but Luka's now been moved. There can't be many left. Maybe Tatum. I know those GMs are so attached to those players and can't see them being traded either. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I moved Harden, and then everything else from that is kind of all the evolutions of the rules and the salary financial issues is just kind of really taking the shine off the trade, and that I feel like it's the worst trade I've made all year. I liked all the other ones. They've come out. I think I've come out adding value or adding a piece that I can use. And yes, LeBron's incredible on the court, but I think I gave up pick 7, which was a really short-term view in terms of value. But if I had him for 2 seasons, I'd be an incredible team. And it's just, it's feeling kind of not like a lost season, but it's just the energy's weird in Portland at the moment. And I had to just move away and brood on my own for a little bit. I was frustrated at some GMs for, I don't know, just how I feel like they're going about some of their moves, some of their actions. Anyway, it was weird. I just thought today, how can getting LeBron be the worst trade of the year? But it feels like it. So, get your foot right, mate. If you're back for the playoffs, I'll forgive all of this. But yeah, otherwise, I was just thinking that brings me to the next discussion point. The NSL after the trade deadline ends. I love the quote from Pete. It's all about wins and losses now, and it's so true. Half of our threads on the channels on Discord, there's no action there. There's no real need to talk to GMs other than if you just socialize with them. There's no trades to talk. There's the teams that really think they can win it are now bunkering down and trying to figure out, all right, what's my best lineup? You can already see Spurs and Washington Wizards are nearly on 20-game win streaks. And I do think they might finish with the top 2 records, and maybe we'll be really close to Washington. But we've got a really tough schedule. We play Washington, San Antonio, Minnesota multiple times, Memphis, I think multiple times, Denver multiple times, Cleveland. It's a really tough schedule. So yeah, it'll be survival mode, and hope my guys can claw their way to some wins. But yeah, just how the energy in NSL just changes so much after the deadline passes, and this is where you might not hear from certain GMs until off season. Again, when trades are able to be discussed and processed, and it's teams now are either really hopeful that they can win it, they're really hopeful that they can try and get into the play-in, or they're really hopeful they can lose all the games remaining. So it's all about hope. And yeah, it's the hope that kills you, and that's what makes winning the whole thing such a worthwhile pursuit, because to avoid that heartbreak is just a really nice feeling, and to be proud of yourself, and to know you've achieved something is what so many of us are fighting for. And I genuinely, in the same breath, hope I can beat you all, but in the same breath, wish you luck, because it's not a nice feeling to work hard and hope and want, and then fall short of something that you think you can do. So yeah, really exciting part of the season for a lot of teams. The stakes become increasingly more serious, with the positioning, with the play-in, with the playoffs. Yeah, so just a really interesting time in the NSL. Just looking on the homepage now, we've got my playoff seeding predictions in the East. Look, all the East teams seem to have just bent over for Washington, whether it be downgrading, whether it be, I don't know, consulting and helping them. Yeah, I think they're going to win the East in a canter. Maybe Milwaukee, maybe New York can throw up a challenge, but yeah, I think Washington will just blitz through the East if they remain healthy, which they've been for, it feels like, months now. Which is good, because he did have some injury troubles at the start of the year, and he's just dominated trading this year. But I see Washington first. I see Milwaukee second, Cleveland third, New York fourth, Toronto fifth, Boston sixth. And man, the play-in is just an absolute crapshoot in the East. Feel like Charlotte will sneak in. I think Charlotte can get through. Yeah, flip a coin about Orlando, Philadelphia, and Miami, perhaps. So Miami's really working hard to try and sneak into the play-in. But I think it'll be Washington, Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York, Toronto, Boston, Philadelphia, maybe, and then Charlotte or Orlando, I think, in that last spot in the East. Out West, I think Spurs might hit a 40-game win streak by the end of the season, if they keep their health. I mean, even without Giannis last week, they just crushed it, which is so depressing. That, I mean, he puts in so much work, so I do admire the team building. I admire the hustle, and the skill he has behind the control stick, so to speak. So Spurs first. I think Memphis. Yeah, I'd say us second, I would imagine, but it'd be very close to possibly Memphis third, Minnesota fourth, Denver fifth, OKC sixth. That's locked. The gap between OKC and Houston's 7 games, which is too far to reach for the Houston or below. Houston just free falling. I think at this rate, Phoenix and Clippers get through. Actually, maybe not Clippers. Maybe reluctantly, bidding on Houston land on the 7th seed, and I think Lattice can take the 8th seed. So unless they fall apart, but they just had a really great win without comfortable win without Brunson and Ingram. So I mean, I don't think there'll be any huge movements or surprises with the playoffs. I think there's probably 3 teams out west, that can genuinely win it. Win the Western Conference, And I think, as I said, it's Washington comfortably ahead, and possibly New York and Milwaukee to mount mount the challenge. Yeah. So what did I have to talk about? I was talking about trade regret. I was talking about the hope. Yes, the hope that kills, and I hope teams yeah are fulfilled in how they've gone this year. I feel like that I know there's a few GMs who this year hasn't gone at all like they planned or hoped, and hopefully they can rectify that at some point because yeah, that spiral of what have I done, what haven't I done. I know we all care about our team, so it's not nice to wallow in those feelings for too long. Um, I'm about to write a premium about all NSL teams. I think off the top of my head, I'll just look at the standings again. I think the all first team um, likely to be obviously Giannis from the Spurs. I think Portland would probably have Durant and LeBron, perhaps as legacy votes and author bias votes. Who rounds out the first team? Tough last few spots. SGA. And who else have we got? Maybe Joel Embiid. Some Washington love. He's obviously dominating in real life, and he's having a very dominant season as a power forward. A power forward in the NSL. So that'd be my first team. I'll take a bit more time to figure out the second and third NSL teams, but that should be fun. What else can we look at right now? Deadline, like I was pretty quiet at the deadline. I had a few smaller talks, but the restrictions really just ground any ability to combine any contracts to a halt. So um, I had the picks that I could use to upgrade, but I didn't have the salary to match the kind of caliber of player that you want to target with salary, couple of players plus picks. So yeah, it was tough. I just had to sit it out and hope that I've got enough, got the right pieces for my team this year, to try and push as far into the playoffs as I can. Yeah, the interesting little menage a trois between Philly, Phoenix, and LA. Little broken up into 3 or 4 parts to avoid any salary issues, restrictions with trading, which is very clever. All fairly small bit parts. No one's getting much better or much worse, but it feels like people have got what they were after. Yeah, Biombo for pick 59. Yeah, because they got Myers Leonard for the rest of the year. Like I get that. Jones for Tillman. The value's fine. I think Jones is a much better 2K player, but I get why Clem did that. The Okoro one finally got put through, so Dill must have had lots of mediation sessions with some buddies and some admins, and they got it over the line. So I know both teams wanted it, so good work, guys. Okoro is a nice young piece, and they didn't really give up much of value. Jimmy Butler, like at the button on the buzzer, gets moved to Minnesota, and I think it's because Cleveland realized they couldn't win it all. But yeah, I think it puts a big dent in their ability to win games. They'd really found a nice balance, but maybe without Clark, they just didn't have it. So Shams has been amazing this year, so I'm not going to doubt his moves at all. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll stay quiet. I'll stay brooding in my cave, just trying to get through this next 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously, high expectations of myself and my team. So to know you can't rely on what makes your team great for the next 3 to 4 weeks it sucks. But we've all dealt with shit. We're all dealing with injuries and everything. So it's just time to endure. Hope you're well, everybody. All the best for the stretch run home. Go Blazers, go NSL. Be well.